The knowledge that he can go 12 rounds with a big guy and still be productive as he was in the beginning of the fight, at the end of the fight.
Abel, what do you make of Canelo's size, of how bigger he's gotten?
You know, it doesn't matter how big he gets. On September the 15th at about 1 o'clock, he's got to weigh 160. So as long as he makes 160, he can do whatever he wants, whatever he feels is in his best interest.
The jab was such a key weapon for Golovkin against Jacobs. Do you think that's going to be similar in this fight?
I think it's going to be used, but I don't think it'll be the kind of fight that you saw with Lemieux. I think that Canelo's a different kind of fighter. I think that Canelo's going to give us the opportunities to use a lot more of the weapons.
What does it mean, Abel, for Gennady to have Max up in camp? What is that bond like, and how do they work off each other?
I think it's more important for me. Yeah, I think Max knows him better than he knows himself. I think that I've seen the interactions with Max and Golovkin and Gennady, and at times it's like Max is the older brother, telling him exactly. In Russian, obviously, I'm not understanding, but you can kind of hear it in the tone of the voice, what he's doing wrong, what he needs to do more, and so it helps me a lot more, I think, than it helps Gennady.
And you guys have a heck of a bond, but that bond between brother is something that...
It's 50 minutes apart. I think that we're in there for 9 months, and they know each other better than anybody else could ever know.
Have you ever had anybody work harder than Gennady?
Terry was a very hard worker also, Terry Norris was, but Terry's after the gym activities were detrimental to his career, where Golovkin is not. Golovkin is a family man. He's always been very, very reserved. He just got his first car about 6 months ago. He didn't have a car before because he said he spends all the time in the gym. He doesn't need a car, so he's not the type of guy that's going to go out at night and I'm going to lose him for a day.
Abel, Gennady hasn't spoken that much about his new baby publicly, but have you seen sort of the excitement in him about that, or is he completely distanced himself from it?
He's excited. I mentioned it to him last week about me being concerned. He says, Coach, says the baby's going to come whether I'm there or not. So, and that's true. He said, I already done my part.
You've seen so much of this, and a lot of people are saying, obviously you have to wait to see what happens Saturday. That's a given. But that there could be 2 or 3 of those, that this is the kind of matchup people would want to see more of if it's a great fight, no matter which way it goes Saturday. Do you see that, and do you think it would have to happen in somewhat of a quick time given his age?
I said this a couple years ago when they talked about it. There could be 2 or 3 because I saw Canelo evolving and developing into that kind of fighter. No, I think that 3 fights in a couple years, still 37 years old.
It'd be okay.
I think it'd be okay. And maybe as he gets older, maybe it's what they were trying to do now and be more competitive.
Okay. Abel, I almost called you Canelo. Abel, are you surprised?
My hair's not red; it's white.
Are you surprised that so many people seem to be picking Canelo to win this fight, given what Gennady's accomplished? And why do you think they are?
I am extremely happy about that because I think that's what our sport needs. It needs 2 sides. It can't be a fight where there's no interest because it's so one-sided. I'm happy that they're picking him, but September 16th, those same people are going to be rooting for whomever is doing the best. I think that the Latin fans, the Mexican fans, just want to see a good fight.
What do you think makes them pick Canelo, though? A year ago, I think everybody would have picked Gennady.
The Jacobs fight.
Just the Jacobs.
The Jacobs fight. But I've said this before: if Jacobs would have fought Canelo that night and we would have fought Chavez, I think the outcome of both of those fights.
Hey, well, what do these 2 guys need to do to attract the kind of casual fan who? This is sort of like the one pay-per-view that they're going to buy a year, or that they're not a normal fan. I mean, can they win them over with 1 fight, or what do these 2 guys have to do?
I think they have to give us the kind of fight that Estrada and Cuadras gave us the other night, a couple nights ago. They're obviously not going to, neither one of them is going to be bad-mouthing the other guy. They're not that type of people, but the Cuadras-Estrada fight with 1 or 2 clinches in the whole fight, and they fought to the end, I think that's what people want to see.
Gennady has cleared.
What's the most dangerous thing about Canelo for your fight?
He's got very fast hands and very good counter-punching combinations. He throws combinations in a row. He throws 4 or 5 shots. So that's one thing that we cannot allow him to do, allow him to get into a rhythm like that.
How do you stop that?
By being first, not necessarily with punches, but with something. Golovkin is very adept, I should say, at cutting off the ring, at feinting, at being in position to take your mind away from what you were thinking. So we just have to be working for 3 minutes of every round.
Hey, well, you've been in Las Vegas many times for so many champions. You mentioned Terry Norris, but first time with Gennady, it's got to be kind of special to finally get here on the big stage, right?
It's very special. This is where all the big fights happen, man. This is history. And if the fight is as good as we're thinking it's going to be, then it's going to be remembered like the Hagler-Leonard fight of our era. It's extremely special. To him, I think it's just a ring. Right now, it hasn't sunk in, I don't think. It's a ring, a ref, and Canelo on the other side. It could be anywhere. He said it can be on the moon. But it'll sink in.
Doesn't he seem any way different this week? Because this is a massive event.
Yeah, he's smiling a lot more. Yeah, he's in a great mood. I don't know if it's because the baby's here or because he finally has the fight that he's wanted. He's so motivated. He has been motivated for this fight. He's not frustrated because it's not an opponent that nobody feels has a chance. And what Mike just said about people picking Canelo, that even motivates him more because it's that perceived threat. He knows it's a fight.
Abel, was there any discussion about Gennady leaving camp to be at his baby's birth?
No, when I talked to him on Thursday, I was starting to voice my concern. You know, the baby's not here. He says, Coach, like I said, the baby's going to be here whether I'm there or not. I done my part. On Friday when he got a call, I think about 12 o'clock, she was going to the hospital. I said, okay, well, go ahead and go home. He said, no, we're going to train at 3 o'clock. We're training, Coach. So he didn't leave the gym probably till 6. The baby was born at 4. So the fight's more important to him. His business is more important to him.
Has he seen the baby yet?
Yes, of course. The baby, his wife is very athletic. She works out every day, so I think she was in the hospital one day. She came home the next day, so he was home with him.
Can you lure Canelo into a firefight, do you think, and is that what you want?
I don't think we have to lure him into a firefight. I think the things that he's saying tells us that he wants to fight. He's not gonna run. He's gonna stand in the middle of the ring or at least close to Gennady to make it a fight. He's talking about knocking out Gennady. So that just tells me that maybe he wants to fight, which is great for all of us.
Logic says that rematch clause emboldens him, doesn't it? Because he has really nothing to lose. I mean, yes, he can lose the fight, but he can fight again.
I think the rematch clause and the contract and the money are secondary to both of these guys. I think that the fact that this is the defining fight for their careers and more for Gennady because he hasn't gotten the recognition, I think that emboldens him more. I think that they want to do well because of that.
You talked about Canelo's power, you mentioned his hand speed, but if Gennady's getting hit with uppercuts and shots to the body, do you think he could withhold that and keep coming forward the way he does for every fight?
Well, in order to do that, he's gonna have to expose himself, and I don't think that Canelo has the punching power that Gennady does. And I say that because he hit Chavez with everything but the stool, and actually ran out of gas trying to do that, trying to knock him out. And that was a depleted 164-pound Chavez. He hit Cotto with everything that he could hit him with and never hurt Cotto. Yet Margarito in Cotto's prime hurt him with almost every shot he hit him with towards the end of the fight. So I don't think his snap and his power is like Golovkin's, but Golovkin gets caught with a good shot. Anybody can go down. This is boxing. There's small gloves. They got a good wrap on, and they get caught. They're going down.
Abel, the fight sold out. How many requests for tickets are you getting personally from people who know you?
Unfortunately, my phone is blowing up, so I don't even answer it anymore. I haven't been answering it unless I know the number, for probably 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm glad that the fight sold out. That's the way that these two guys should be treated. Unlike I felt kind of bad for Sergey and Andre, two of the best fighters in the world that sell 6,500 and don't sell no pay-per-view, which is sad. They're great fighters and they're not getting the recognition. So I'm glad that this is doing as much better, and hopefully the second one and third one do even better than that.
Do you think it is overcome then by selling out any perception that it would get hurt by Mayweather and McGregor?
I think that we're past that. I think that the hype and people talking and we're walking around town, everybody's talking about it. So I think we're past that. It may hurt us, but it won't hurt us as much as people thought it was going to hurt us.
Can your guy win a boxing match if it becomes a boxing match? In other words, if Canelo shows he can take those shots, it becomes more of a tactical fight.
My guy had 350 amateur fights, won the silver medal, beat almost everybody that was anybody as a champion, was a 4-time amateur champion. I think he can box. He hasn't had to show it, but he can box. I've seen it in the gym, but I look at him as a head of lettuce. There's so many layers to him that we haven't really seen him because nobody's forced him to. Maybe in this fight we see some of those.
When you say the Mayweather-McGregor hurt you a little bit, what do you mean by that?
I think that the price, there's a lot of casual fans that would have bought this fight if they hadn't spent $99 on a spectacle. But it's a different month. I think that this being on the 16th, it's a different month, and the budget may be still there.
Different cable bill.
There you go.
Different cycle, yeah.
Different cycle. There you go. Yeah.
Abel, you've been one of the main people pushing this promotion. You're very vocal. How does it, from your perspective, when people now come up to you and talk to you about the fight?
I'm glad there's interest. This is my business. It keeps us all employed. This is what I love to do, and this is I feel that by talking, it gives the fight the respect that it deserves, because they're not going to badmouth. I'm going to say whatever's on my mind, you know, and they're not going to say nothing about each other. They're going to do it in the ring. So for us to build it up outside the ring, I wish Chepo and Eddie would talk more shit about me. So that, you know, that way, you know, it's nothing personal. It's all about trying to hype this thing up and trying to get them. Canelo and Golovkin read and people tell them about what is being said, so they're very aware. So we start talking on the outside and get pissed off at each other, then maybe it pumps them up even more, make it even more of a grudge match.
What do you think of them as trainers?
Very good. Look, they took this kid from, what, 13 years old, 14 years old, and brought him to this stage. I got mine when he had 16 fights, so I think a lot about them. I hope that we meet again with another guy that they developed, because they have a big factory over there, and so do we now in the gym, in our gym. So I hope that we meet again, and I hope it's on this stage.
What's it like? I mean, Canelo doesn't, really speak English to us. What's it like? You dealt with it with Gennady, trying to speak a language that's not your own and knowing that you have to. How difficult is that for these guys?
I tried to every day make sure that I don't hear Russian in my gym. I try every day to make sure that they talk the language. I ask them questions about stupid things. I ask them questions about cars. I ask them questions about their families, just so that they can talk to me, because I think it's important for them to be here, not me. But it's unfortunate Canelo not learning. He should be learning more. It's unfortunate Golovkin's not learning. He should be learning more, but it's their choice. That's the way they are. Those people are that way. They're quiet.
They speak with their fists? Do you think that that's what they
yeah,
really
but they need
decide?
to speak this too. I think that this is part of it too. I think this is the build-up too, but it's not up to me. It's up to them.
I mean, to that point, how much did that hurt a promotion when you can't really sometimes hear those guys in their own?
I think at this level it doesn't hurt it as much as it would if, let's say, 4 or 5 fights ago when they were just coming up. At this level, everybody knows about this fight because it's the fight that boxing needs. It's a fight that's been talked about for 2 years.
You said you wanted more people pissed off. Do you think being pissed off? Do you think more Floyd counter back and
No,
forth?
not pissed
like
off that way. Not pissed off that way. No, I'm not talking about vocal. I'm talking about inside. Oh, so and so, that son of a, that kind of thing.
But not like the public
no, that's
persona they
stupidity.
have.
That's stupidity to me. That especially shoving each other in the ring or in a face-off and stuff like that. What if somebody gets hurt? All this work for nothing?
How do you expect the crowd to be fight night?
I expect it to be Canelo, pro Canelo. But Latin fans, Mexican fans, they love a fight, man.
They have the Mexicans for Golovkin shirt.
Yeah, but I think it's more for Canelo right now. I remember when I was in San Diego with Terry Norris, I used to take a lot of black fighters to Mexico to fight, and before the fight, they're yelling at them and cussing them out, and after the fight, after they knock a Mexican out, they're over taking pictures with them and getting autographs. They just want to see a fight, man.
Can you hear your prediction for the fight?
I think it's a difficult fight for 3 or 4 rounds. I think that the tactics will be determined at that point, what one guy is going to do, what the other guy is going to do. I think that Canelo's going to succumb to the physicality of Golovkin. I think that towards the end of the fight, Golovkin will be too strong for him, too big and too strong for him, and he'll hit him too much. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 12.
Abel, once the fight starts, how important is your input between rounds?
It's very, very important, just to keep them patient and keep them from. Although I don't think it'll happen, but keep them from just getting over anxious. Just patience. This guy's going to be here for 12. We're going to touch him. We're going to touch him. I see the scenario of a Martin Murray fight.
You keep him calm.
Yes, we have to keep him calm in the corner. Just calm just to do his work. It's not about 1 round or 2 rounds. It's about showing your wares.
Georgie Benton used to tell Whitaker and these guys, win this fight, look good next fight. Win this fight, just win the fight. Any concern that you're going to have to do that at some point? So just win the fight. Don't have to be spectacular knockout. You have to win the fight.
No, we're in a different era. I think that Floyd and unfortunately some of the other guys with that kind of style, a lot of fans went away from the sport because of MMA. When Georgie was around, there was no MMA or UFC, so there wasn't an alternative. Today there's an alternative, and if we're not entertaining, then we're not going to sell. We have to be entertaining. We have to make sure that they remember this fight and they want to buy the next one.
How was the work with Triple G and having Murat Gassiev, another world champion?
Murat is
for almost the same time fighting.
Yeah, Murat is like a little boy watching Golovkin work. He is learning so much from Golovkin. He's going to be a very, very good fighter in his own right. He's only 23 years old. He's going to be very good eventually. Right now, he watches every move that Golovkin does, and not only him. The sparring partners, we had J-Rock, Julian Williams in camp, and some other guys, and they're all very attentive, just making sure that they try to pick up some of the things that the Golovkin's doing in the gym.
Was it still true that he has yet to touch the canvas in sparring or anything like that?
He has never been. I've never seen him hurt. I've never seen him go down. From what they tell me in the amateurs, he was never hurt, never went down. So, but you know what? That's meaningless. If Canelo lands a good shot like he did against Khan and Gennady is exposed, who knows? It's how he gets up that's going to be important. How he gets up and continues, because all the greats were down. It's just how you get up and continue.
On that point, Abel, for every trainer, is it true that you don't really know what he's going to do in that situation until he's in?
No, he's never been in that situation. So we just have to make sure. That's why a lot of us that coach have 4 rounds and 6 round fighters and 8 round fighters. Not all of them are going to be Golovkin. This is where we learn in those fights. So hopefully we react the way we're supposed to react to help our fighter when that happens to them, if it does happen to them.
Can you ever tell throughout your career, can you ever tell when a guy is coming close to the whole cliche about getting old in a ring, or do you have to actually see it?
No, I've retired. Probably 4 guys in my career.
That you knew before they got into too much.
Absolutely. They're my friends. I want to be able to talk to them like we're talking right now, 20 years from now. I'm not going to let them get beat up. I don't. Sometimes they go away and go to somebody else, but I won't. I like to win. I don't like to lose.
Do you think Gennady can maintain the level he's at now for several more years, or how much longer do you think he can maintain it?
Mike, I think if we have the competition, and I've said it in the past, all these elite fighters, they need, Andre being one of them, Sergey being one of them, Floyd, they need that mental challenge. The physical challenge, they're always going to be in shape. They're always that's their job. The mental challenge of the perceived threat, just like it is you saying about people for Canelo, I think that's what's necessary for them to maintain that. That's
motivation is the key.
Motivation in wanting to go back to the gym, because these fights are easy. It's the gym that's difficult. I mean, those 10 weeks that we go through. Same thing for Canelo. It's 10 weeks that we go through, and it's
careful of the step.
And it's a grind. The fights at 12 rounds are nothing, man. It's just 36 minutes.